Are you a millennial in corporate and you feel like you have absolutely zero time for anything that you want to do and all you do constantly is take care of other people? If you are on the struggle bus trying to get ahead, trying to do your best, trying to accomplish things for yourself personally, and you feel like you're thriving professionally, but you have these personal goals or desires that you just can't seem to make time for, this episode is going to be really beneficial for you. I'd like to introduce you to Sarah, who is a 38-year-old corporate manager and mom of 2. She feels like she's juggling everything at once, but simultaneously getting absolutely nowhere. And she has a goal to start her side business, but she keeps pushing it off due to lack of time and exhaustion. So I have an entire case study here on Sarah and her situation. I asked her a ton of questions about her current work situation, her family dynamics, other priorities and obligations that she has, along with how much of her goal that she's actually worked towards. And I will be going through giving my perspective, my recommendations on how she can sustainably reach this goal to start her side business. I will be going through the mindset of all of this, but also giving her a practical roadmap of how she can really step into the version of herself that she needs to be in order to launch this side business. So if all of that sounds interesting to you, I hope that you'll stick around and let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I asked Sarah is, do you work currently? Obviously she does. If so, how many hours per week? She says, yes, I work full-time in a leadership role and it takes up a lot of my energy. On paper, it's about 50 hours a week, but in reality, I'm always thinking about work, checking emails, or handling something after hours. So immediately, the first order of business that we need to address here is boundaries. I'm sure all of you can call that out pretty clearly that she has very little boundaries around work or the professional side of her life. This is a process though, and I don't want you to think that just because I'm saying this is the first order of business that this is the easiest order of business, because this is the one that's going to really take some time for you to adjust to and for everybody else in your life to adjust to. If you are someone who has been at your employer for a really long period of time, you have created habits for yourself of how you work and when you work, but that has also trained the people around you, your employer, your employees, your clients, of how you work as well. As much as it takes work and discipline for you to retrain your own habits and to create new habits for how often you work and when you answer emails and all of that, you also have to retrain everyone else around you at the same time that things are changing. So this needs to be a bit of a weaning process, because if you try to implement boundaries too fast, you are going to be probably really afraid of what the consequences are going to be. It's not going to feel like this natural ease into something that feels better, or it's not going to feel like a benefit if you just try and throw a bunch of new boundaries up. It's going to feel like you are cutting people off, resenting things. It's going to feel like you're neglecting. It just may not feel like a good thing. So we want to approach this nice and slow so that it feels like this ease into the boundaries rather than feeling this like forceful, angry, like aggressive shift. It's going to be better for your nervous system to take things slow, and the other people around you may not even notice the shift because they're just being reconditioned and retrained into how to work with you. And the slower you do that, the easier it's going to be for them to accept the change as well. Not that it's all about them, but it does make it easier for you if you don't have other people like coming against you being like, what the fuck is going on? I would start by taking an inventory of your devices. Where are people contacting you the most? Is it on your computer? Is it on your phone? Are you getting notifications? What apps are you getting notifications on? And you need to set boundaries around those things. So if that means turning your notifications off at a certain period of time, do that. If that means the laptop goes away after a certain period of time, do that. Out of sight, out of mind is going to be a huge help for you in this situation, because sometimes we don't actually think of work because we're thinking of work. We think of work because we're prompted by something. And the less prompting you can have, such as the notifications, the better. When you set this new boundary, or when you start to disengage at a certain time of day, if you turn off your notifications, if you shut down the laptop and put it somewhere that you can't see it, it's going to be really important that you communicate this to the people who typically are expecting to hear from you at the drop of a dime. Make sure you're letting them know, I'm not going to be available for the rest of the night. If this is an emergency, and this is what qualifies as an emergency, then you can reach me here. Most of the time, things are not emergencies. So if you don't have any emergent situations in your current position, don't even give them that option. The other thing you need to consider is who is messaging you. Is it employer? Is it clients? Is it your employees? Because if it is your employees, or even your clients, like, train them not to be working all hours of the day too. Train them that boundaries are an essential part of being healthy in business and having healthy relationships and sustainably reaching more and more success in life. Because if you are constantly on and you are constantly answering emails or responding to messages, then your employees or your clients are going to learn from that. They're going to use that as an example of how they should behave in business. And we do not want to perpetuate this cycle of burning ourselves out and having a lack of boundaries. So be the example. If you can't be the example for yourself, be the example for somebody else. The second place to start is by calling out your fears around being accessible. A lot of really successful women burn out because they need to feel needed. They want to feel needed. That is what gives them their value and their worth. And I have to tell you, you aren't in the position that you're in because you're accessible 24/7. That is not what led you to your success. Just having access to you is not your talent. You are so much more than just that. I would highly encourage you to sit down and ponder or journal on, what am I afraid will happen if I become less accessible? You can't be so concerned with other people's needs that you completely disregard your own. That's not going to be a long-term success plan. So journal on that and then let me know how that goes. All right, the next question I asked Sarah was, do you have a family? And if so, what is your family structure/dynamic? She is married with 2 kids. Her husband is great, but she still ends up managing most of the mental load. Oh my gosh. Men, please, get it together when it comes to this. We don't want to have to tell you what it is you have to do. Use your brain, have some forethought, and handle shit, okay? She keeps track of schedules. She makes sure everything is running smoothly at home, and she's handling just the little things that no one else seems to notice. A few things here. Number one, and I don't mean this to be funny, but do you have the financial means to hire a personal assistant? And I don't mean this for work, although it could be, but in your personal life, if you have the means to hire a personal assistant for a couple of hours a week to just do your scheduling, making phone calls for you, handling tasks that are relatively simple, that just take up some of that mental load. If you have a person who you can just delegate that to and they handle it for you, you would be so surprised at the amount of joy you get from just not having to do those things. The other thing to consider is, do you have systems to delegate tasks to your husband, to your kids? Because if you are carrying this mental load, who is doing all of the actual task management? Because if you're really good at the planning and the scheduling and making sure all of the things are organized and in order, then the least everyone else can do is execute on some of the tasks that need to get done. If there is a way that you can delegate some of the tasks to your husband or some of the chores to your kids so that you don't have to handle those, highly recommend that as well. And then also during this process, consider, what tasks do you enjoy handling? Do you enjoy the planning and the scheduling and, the kind of putting all the puzzle pieces together? Do you enjoy that mental load, but handling the tasks on top of it feels like a burden? What do you enjoy doing in the home and for the home? And then what do you not enjoy doing? And then look at what your strengths are as a person? And then what are your husband's strengths? What are your kids' strengths? Leverage each person in your family's strengths and give them the things that are going to bring them fulfillment and purpose in your family. You don't have to carry the whole load. The cool thing about leveraging strengths is that you're giving people an opportunity to live in their purpose and to fulfill their purpose in life. So if one of your kids has a gift at cooking, then you know what? Like, let them plan the meals, or let them do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to making dinner. Just be there to support them, but you don't necessarily have to do that mental load. Allow them to be in their purpose and leverage that strength so that you don't have to take that on. If your husband is super good at following a list and, following instructions, give him a chore list, give him the grocery list, give him the things that are going to be super time consuming for you. Doing the laundry, super time consuming. Doing the grocery shopping, super time consuming. Give that over to him. You may need to think about what needs to go on the grocery list, but you know what? Let him go and buy the groceries, put them away, all of that good stuff. And honestly, if you have one kid who's planning the meals and the other to do the shopping for you, this job just got a lot easier because you can just put the meal plan from your child in ChatGPT and say, hey, create a grocery list off of this, send that over to Hubs, and let them figure the rest out. Okay? All right. Moving on. What commitments do you have on a regular basis? She says, besides work and family, I am involved in a lot of networking events, leadership development programs, mentoring others. I try to work out and make time for myself, but when things get busy, that's the first thing to go. Okay, so it's, first of all, really incredible for you to be giving back through mentoring, and I love that you are pouring into yourself professionally through the development programs and the networking events. But I think it's important for you to know what your true priorities are at all times. If you are super involved in all of these different events, is that giving you the satisfaction that you are seeking? And there is no right or wrong answer here. If the answer is yes, then my question to you would be, are these things contributing to your ultimate goal of having your own business? Or is this giving you fulfillment that you may be trying to seek by starting your own business, but these things are feeling more fulfilling to you, and that's why you're prioritizing them? It's important to really consider what you're spending your time on and whether you actually want to be doing those things or not. Sometimes we can get caught up in, I really want to start my own business because so many other people I see on social media are starting their own business, or so-and-so is a consultant and a coach, and so I want to be a consultant and a coach. And it's sometimes we're just happy and satisfied with the way our lives are, and that's why we're not prioritizing the goal. And I'm not saying that that's your situation, Sarah, but I want you to be really clear on whether it is important for you to continue going to these events, or what is the purpose for them? What are they serving? Because if those are only contributing to the success in your current role, and it's just taking away time for you to be working on the business, the ultimate goal that you're trying to create, then maybe we need to adjust the amount of time that you're spending at these events. So consider, is this giving you satisfaction in life, or is it leaving you depleted? And then if you do scale back, maybe you're looking at one event a week, or I guess I don't know how often you're going to these events, but I'm assuming there's multiple a week. So maybe you scale back to just one a week, or if it's, multiple a month, then maybe just once a month that you are doing these events. And then as far as working out, because you mentioned you try to work out and make time for yourself, but when things get busy, that's the first thing to go. As far as this is concerned, is working out or, working on your physical body something that you really are wanting right now? Do you have a particular goal in that area? Because similar to your side business, you really need to be scheduling these things for yourself. You are not just, a single person who doesn't have any commitments and is like a stay-at-home mom or person. You are a very busy professional, you have outside obligations, and then you have an entire family that you are managing as well. You have to schedule these things. You don't have the luxury, because of the busyness of your life, you don't have the luxury to just say, oh, when I have free time, I'll work out, or oh, when I have free time, then I'll work on my side business. You have to actually schedule these things into your calendar. Otherwise, they aren't going to happen because you're never going to have free time. You are a very busy person and things will consistently fill up in your schedule unless you have something there already preventing you from filling that extra time. So when it comes to working out, this goal that you're trying to reach of starting your own, of like launching the side business and having that become more successful, you have to put them first so that they don't come last. If that means that you wake up a little bit earlier in the day and prioritize those things, do that. If that means as soon as you leave work, you're going to the gym instead of going home first, you do that. If that means that, for 30 minutes in the morning, you work on your side business, do that. If that means your lunch break is dedicated to your side business, do that, but don't let it come last. If you wait until the very end of the day to prioritize the things that you're doing for yourself, they're always going to come last because you are right now in a habit of putting others first. So unless you force yourself to be first, you're always going to put yourself last. Okay, have you made any progress toward the goal so far? She says, a little, but not in ways that stick. I've started different productivity systems, tried time blocking, even signed up for courses, but I either get too busy to keep up or I just don't follow through consistently. I have moments where I feel like I'm making progress, but then life happens and I'm back at square one. I really want to know more specifically what your side business is, but I think the biggest thing for you is going to be breaking this down into bite-sized chunks or milestones. And the more you work on these smaller pieces of your side business, the more you will gain momentum, which is going to keep you moving forward and being consistent. Then you will ultimately see the results without feeling this huge lift or this need to work so hard to make this a success for yourself. I think that breaking things down into milestones is going to be really helpful because you'll know when to work on what, how long it's going to take you to work on it. And the more structure that you can create here for this side business, and the more you can schedule that into your actual days to know exactly what goes where instead of just trying to fit it in when you have free time, you will find more success in doing that than just waiting for the right moment for you to work on the side business. I think you're the type of person that if you schedule it on your calendar, you're going to feel like it's a commitment, like it's something that you have to do rather than it's just an option for you. And if you really want to make this side business a success, you have to commit to it. You have to treat it with respect. You have to act like you have to show up for it, just like you would a work event, just like you would your kid's recital. You have to treat it like it is important because it is, unless it's not. And if it's not, then let it go. There's no use in continuing to beat yourself up and feel oh, I really need to prioritize this thing. Oh, I said I was going to start a business and I haven't done it. I keep putting it off. If it's not important to you, let it go. It's not that big of a deal. But if it is important to you, take it seriously. All right. And then the last question here that I asked Sarah is, if you had to guess, what would you say is the biggest hindrance in making time for your goal? She says, I'd say lack of time, but honestly, I know it's deeper than that. I take on too much. I have a hard time setting boundaries. And when I do get free time, I am too mentally drained to use it productively. I don't know how to create space for myself without everything else falling apart. Okay, so here's the thing, Sarah. The problem is you're looking at this as, and I've said this earlier, but you're looking at this as something to fill your free time with. You still need rest. You still need free time. You still need time during your day to not be productive in the traditional sense. There has to be a certain period of not doing things, not actively working on something that happens as part of your day. And if you are constantly trying to fill your free time or your non-productive time with something else that is productive, yeah, you're going to burn out. You're going to feel drained because you need to rest. You need that time to recover and recuperate and re-energize. So it's going to serve you very well to actually schedule this as part of your productive part of your day and then have your free time as your free time. This side business that you're building should not fill in free time for yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. And it's going to be easier to set boundaries when you feel like you have specific commitments that you have to show up for. So what I would really consider here is, why are you building this side business? Why is this important to you? What is this going to do for you? What is this going to do for your family? How is this going to make a difference in your life? There must be a reason why you want to prioritize this, or why you want this goal to become a reality for you. Knowing your reason why you're doing this will help you understand the importance of making time in your schedule for this goal. It will help you to set boundaries in other areas because you understand why it's important that you follow through on this commitment that you've made to yourself. If you haven't already done this, definitely journal on, why do you want this goal? And I would ask yourself why multiple times. Like, let me give you an example. So if you said, why is having this side business important to me? Because I want more time freedom. Okay, why is having more time freedom important to me? Because I'll have more time to spend with my kids. Okay, why is spending more time with my kids important to me? Keep asking yourself why multiple times until, I would say probably 5 or 6 times, until you get to a really, really rooted, important reason for why you are working towards this. Once you have that why, write that down somewhere. Put it up on, a screensaver. Put it on your background, on your desktop, on your phone. Put Post-it notes places, like just remind yourself of that reason every chance that you get. And then one more thing on this. I hear a lot of people say that they struggle setting boundaries, but you don't really struggle setting boundaries because you're able to set boundaries in other areas of your life. You just struggle setting them in the right places, in the places that have to do with you. You know how to set boundaries. You know how to set them in certain areas, but you struggle with setting them in regard to your own needs. You probably feel like you aren't worthy of the boundaries being set, and it's just simply not true. Anything that you desire or anything that you are doing for yourself is not a back burner item. You wanting to start a side business simply because you want it is worthy of the time investment. It's worthy of the boundaries. It's worthy of you saying, no, sorry, I can't stay late today. No, sorry, I can't attend that networking event. No, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it to the mentorship thing today. It's worth it. You are your own person. You have one life to live. Do not allow other people's feelings or other people's disappointment sway you from doing what is going to make you happy. Because at the end of the day, they're not even going to remember that you said no in the long run. You are still going to be an amazing manager. You're still going to be successful in the work that you do, in the job that you have. You're still going to make an impact on the people around you, but you're going to do it from a place that is happier and more fulfilled because you are still filling up your cup outside of work. You are still giving to the part of you that has your own desires outside of other people's opinions, perspectives, thoughts, desires, needs. It's all about you, and that should be your highest priority always. Okay, so let's get into the practical side of this. We're going to do just the same thing that we did last time with Laura, and we're going to look at goal, start side business. All right, and then we're going to make our database like always, and we're going to call these milestones. All right, we've got the name of our milestones. We're going to need a date field. We're going to need a status field, and we'll add a notes column just for fun. All right, so the way that I approach milestones is I kind of work backwards. I'm going to approach this from the lens that you are trying to build your own consulting side business because you are an amazing professional, and that's what I'm going to go with here. Or the last thing that you would need to do before your side business is officially started is sign first client, right? And we're going to give you about 6 months to do that. So that's what my October 4th date is here. Before you sign your first client, you're going to need to have discovery calls. And maybe we give you like a certain amount, 10 discovery calls. Because if you have 10 discovery calls and you have a closing rate of 10%, then you're going to be able to sign your first client within those 10 discovery calls. Let's say August through September, let's do those discovery calls, okay? And then before you have discovery calls, people need to know what you're offering. So let's say post about offer. We'll do that consistently, let's say June through July. And you can keep creating content past that, but like let's be posting about the offer during that time frame. But before you can post about the offer, you need to create content around offer. So you can start creating your content. I'm going to say, by June 1st, you need to create your content around your offer. But then before that, you need to develop offer. Okay, we'll fill in the dates on these. Here, I am kind of on a roll. So before you develop the offer, you need to know who you want to help. Decide who you want to help. And actually, let's decide what you want to help with. And before that, you need to decide who you want to help. All right, so we need to develop the offer by May 1st, and then you can be creating content around the offer from May to June, start posting from June to July. So this month is going to be all about deciding what you want to help with and who you want to help. So I would say decide what you want to help with by the 14th, and then decide who you want to help by the 21st, and then the 21st through the 1st of May, you can be developing what your offer looks like. Sustainably, I would say if you can contribute 1 hour a week to start with, that is going to get you really, really far, Sarah. Honestly, just 1 hour a week. But one of the things that I did with the last case study was I recommended that she have different energy levels for when she has a lot of energy or a lot of extra time to contribute to the book that she was writing, she could do more. And then, so you could do something similar with this. But I think, contributing an hour or an hour and a half to 2 hours on deciding who you want to help, an hour and a half to 2 hours on what you want to help with, and then developing the offer, I think is so doable for you and can be fit in to either, early morning before you start getting ready for your day, or maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday when you have the day off, maybe the kids sleep in a little bit, or, maybe they have things that they're doing in the middle of the day where you can kind of sit down and have some quiet time to yourself. Just put 60 minutes on a timer. Just give yourself that 60 minutes to kind of brain dump and develop, decide who you want to help, what you want to help with, and just get really clear on those things. That is all going to be really beneficial information to get you to the next step in your process. And then if you have an entire month from May to June to create content around your offer, if you're working 1 to 3 hours a week, getting more clear on what you want to say to the people, what you have to say, even if that's, just sitting down an hour a week and just writing, just brain dumping ideas and thoughts that you have to say to these people that you want to help, that is going to be so much content to then take into when you start posting about your offer. By the time June 1st hit, you already have so much of your content created, and then you already have momentum because you know you've started to develop this routine around creating content. And then you can just continue to create more, which is going to keep you ahead. So if things do get a little bit busy, you have a backlog of content that's already created. You have this consistent pipeline of more content that you can just add on to it, every week. And then you're posting, you're letting the people know what you have to offer. And then hopefully you are booking the calls during that period of time. Let them know when they can start booking. And then if they want to book sooner, because people may decide after, reading a few pieces of your content, like, gosh, I really want to work with this girl. When can I work with her? Maybe they reach out to you, or maybe you notice somebody engaging with you on a regular basis. You could reach out to them in the DMs directly and just be like, hey, I just wanted to extend this really exclusive offer for a discovery call with me. It's free. You can, we'll get on the call. We'll discuss how I can help you. I just noticed that you have really been engaged with my content, and I thought this might be of interest to you. So then you could go that direction and then watch how that ends up being the very first client you sign. That would be amazing, right? And all of that can be done so sustainably in the next 6 months with you still working at your corporate job, still managing all the things of the house, but also considering all of the things that I've said to you earlier and the side notes that I had in all of the information that you shared. Don't be afraid to make adjustments, delegate, set boundaries. All of that is going to be important in this process as well. But I think even if you just made some very small, slight adjustments, you could still do this sustainably. And then you will see the fruits of your labor start to come in, and that's going to build that momentum. That's going to keep you going, and you'll start to be so excited about the side business that the boundaries are going to be easier to set in the other areas of your life that it's feeling a little bit harder right now. So I hope that was helpful. Hopefully you can take this away with you and, run with it. Just a few closing thoughts. You being fulfilled in your life and you giving yourself the ability to work towards goals that are important to you as an individual person are going to allow you to show up better for your family, for your workplace, for your friends, and ultimately just for yourself. You are going to be a better version of you if you are allowing yourself to fill up your cup. So don't feel like it's just selfish for you to do those things. It is actually benefiting everybody around you as well as you. Something more specific to your side business is don't be afraid to repurpose content. People need to hear things multiple times in order for things to click. I say a lot of the same things in a lot of my videos, and it feels like new content because it's said a little bit differently, or maybe one part of what I explain doesn't necessarily make sense in one video, but after you hear it so many times, it's like, oh my gosh, I finally get it. So don't be afraid to say the same things, to reuse content, to position it a little bit differently. That is going to keep things sustainable for you as well. Not trying to recreate the wheel every single time that you're trying to promote your offer. Just be real about what you want to share, who you want to help, and that message is going to reach the people that it needs to reach. Focus on consistency over intensity. You do not have to put in hours and hours and hours a week in order to see results. You consistently showing up 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week for yourself and knowing what you're going to be working on ahead of time is going to get you so far in this side business, Sarah. I cannot wait to see what you create here. And then having something done is better than having it perfect. When you are creating content or when you're creating an offer, when you're starting a business in general, it can feel like everything has to be perfectly decided upon and like nothing can ever change. So it has to be exactly right the very first time. But I will tell you what, you will change your mind. You will be a different version of yourself. You will create different versions of your offer. You will think differently in a few months than you're thinking right now. You will learn things as you work with other clients or as you get feedback, as you see people commenting on the things that you share. You will change the way you say things, the way you market things, the way you believe. So getting content out and having the things to share, sharing the things, saying the things is going to be so much more important than getting everything perfect, because there is no such thing. And if you wait until it's perfect, you will never get it out. So start getting it out, and then you will get better over time. And don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all do it, and we learn from it and we get better. That's how we get better. That's how you got to where you are already. I'm sure you made mistakes in your past. I'm sure you've learned through just the process of experience. So give yourself that opportunity to have the experience, and don't hold yourself back. All right, everyone. I hope this episode was insightful and helpful. Sarah, best of luck to you. And if you would like to be the next person as a part of this case study series and have your goal broken down and see how you can actually sustainably achieve the goals that you want in your life, feel free to fill out the form that is listed down below, and then I will create your roadmap to sustainable success. Thank you so much for being here today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the like button so that I know to make more content like this. And until next time, take care.